Now, Coach James Jones, apparently what we understand is that you love gymnastics as a child and as an adult, and you have used your life's work to basically bring that same love and introduce it to the young Black boys in your community. Welcome to the Lurie Daniel Favors Show. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you, Lurie, for having me.
I first learned about you, sir, when I saw videos of these, first of all, the most adorable little chocolate drops in the planet. This cute little Black boys running and flipping and jumping through the air and just doing amazing things. But I didn't realize when I was first seeing the video that this was a GoFundMe. This was an effort to really try to ensure that you were going to have the resources to continue providing services to this community. Talk to us about the work you have done with your efforts to bring this sport to young Black boys. And you all have done some phenomenal things. Talk to us about your history thus far.
Okay, so it's been amazing work. I will say that to begin with. When I first saw the kids, they were at a local rec center, and I just thought that the training that they were doing could have been more, and many of the parents thought that it could be more as well. And the boys really wanted to get out there and just learn more and show some of the things that they were doing. And so I contacted some people who were within the city council trying to explain to them, hey, you have this great group of boys who they come on the weekends. They're really looking for more training. The parents are looking for more training as well. And it just seems like some of the members of the city council just weren't interested in the program being any bigger than it was. And at the time, I was just a volunteer coach. So I wasn't a part of the city and I wasn't a part of the rec center. I just came and I did the volunteer classes. And so after talking to several people in the community, it was very clear that there was no space for boys gymnastics. So I just decided if we got together, we can make our own space. And that's what we've been doing for the last 6 years. So there have been lots of fundraisers, there have been lots of sponsors, lots of donors who've kept us going. And so that's kind of where we are right now.
So this is the James Jones Gymnastics Academy. How did you come into a space where you don't just have a love for gymnastics, but you are a professional part of this sport?
So in 2019, I was really looking to make a professional change. So I'm a lawyer and I
Oh, you
really
are recovering, not another recovering attorney. What is the world going to do with us, James?
Yeah, so I have been thinking for a while. I didn't know if I wanted to leave the law, but we love what we do as lawyers, but I wanted something that was for me. I don't necessarily
Yeah.
think that the law is for me. The law is for the clients that I help out.
Hmm.
And so I asked myself one day, I said, what is it that you would like to do? And immediately Coach Boys Gymnastics came into mind. And what's interesting, one day after that, I was leaving my office and the traffic was so heavy to get out of the office that I turned left. I normally turn right to get back toward the freeway. I turned left and I drove a block away and there's a sign that says gymnastics and I'd never seen that sign before, so I followed it another block and there was a gym that wasn't even 2.5 blocks from where my office had been for like 2 years, and I said, this has to be a sign.
Come on.
And so after that, I did the training well, first I did coaches training with the rec center. And then after that, I attended a Congress for gymnastics through USA Gymnastics, which is a national governing body. And then I did the trainings that they offer and I became a certified gymnastics coach. So that's how I became a professional member. And
Wait
so
a minute. I'm sorry. Hold on, sir. So you didn't like become like an Olympian yourself and then just have like some calling to give back. You had a whole other career
I had a
where
whole other
you were
career.
you so you finished college, you went to law school, passed the bar, practicing attorney, and was like, I feel a calling on my life. And you added this. So you went back to school to learn how to be a gymnastics coach?
Well, I wouldn't say back to school. They offer classes and courses, and some of them are in person. So I did attend the courses, but it's
Sir,
not
that's
like
back to school. That's that you learned, you went to a course of study to learn something you didn't learn
you're
before
right.
because it was a passion for you to help other people.
Right.
My
But
God.
see, but see, it wasn't out of the blue. So I was a gymnast as a kid, but I was only a gymnast for a very short amount of time. And the reason is the classes were so expensive and the gym was on the other side of town. And
Mm.
I didn't have anyone in my family who even understood gymnastics or had an interest in it. And so, my brothers, my cousins who lived in the same city, they did basketball, they did football, they did track and field. And I was in those sports as well, but that isn't what I would have chosen for myself. I chose gymnastics and telling everyone in my family, my community, I would really like to do gymnastics. and no one put me in it, you know? And so I was flipping on the playground at school and I was in the fifth grade and we had a new assistant principal and she saw me doing flips and she came over to me and she said, "Oh my God, you are flipping so well. Do you do gymnastics?" And I told her no, but I watch it on TV and I check out all of the books in the library.
Wow.
And so a little bit after that, some coaches from the gym that was across town came to the school and they watched me flip on the playground and I got a scholarship to that gym for that summer. And so the scholarship ran out after about 8 weeks and I was just so I wanted to keep going. So I went to the main office and I said, "Hey, I'm on scholarship. It's ending. I'd like to know how do I extend this scholarship?" And the manager told me, that there is no scholarship. She said, "Your assistant principal has been paying the tuition." And
What?
yes, it was very interesting how I got into gymnastics. And, when the scholarship had ran out and the summer was over, I talked with my parents, I talked with just everyone who I knew in the community. Hey, I would really like to do this. It's just no one was ever able to put me in it, or no one chose to put me in it. And that stuck with me. Now, I will say that there's this group, they're called the Alphas and the Sigmas. I don't know if you're familiar with them. They're fraternities. You know,
I'm a little familiar.
are
Slight,
you okay?
slight familiarity, yes.
So in our elementary school, they actually hosted a tumbling program for the boys, but there were a few caveats. It only lasted 1 week, and you had to be in the fifth grade to be in the program. And they didn't coach, they just let the boys showcase what they could do during their charity basketball game. So when I was in the fifth grade, I was able to participate in that tumbling program for a week that was put on by the Alphas and the Sigmas. And the coach, or I would say the coordinator of the program, she was an AKA. And so that was an instance where the community did come together to give some of the boys
Wow.
I guess, a taste of what organized gymnastics was, but it was limited. So that was the last time I was part of any type of actual structured gymnastics program. And it just stuck with me throughout life that this is such a great sport. And there are boys like me who don't have opportunity or access for this sport. So when our local rec center said that they didn't want to let the boys compete, I didn't want that to stop me, and I didn't want to let that stop the boys. So it was just something I felt that I had to do
So are you still practicing as an attorney now while you're doing this?
every day.
You know what? Look at God. Hold on. I mean, applause, air horns, pew, 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 whatever it is we got to shout out this brother. Come on. What? That
Yes,
so not
Rico.
only did you have seeds planted in you for a passion that you have, but you also had seeds planted in you for what it looks like when adults pour into young people in a way that can allow them to pursue their dreams. So you're driving down this block, you're carrying this passion with you that hadn't really been able to be fulfilled in the court. Now I understand why you got a court background behind you. It all makes sense now. So you see this sign for gymnastics, you everything that you just told us happened. How did you then get to a space where you are the founder of your own gymnastics academy?
So when I started coaching at the rec center, the coaching that they did was a little bit different than what I understood gymnastics to be. And so at first, I was just a volunteer who came in and helped the other coaches out. But once they realized that I actually knew what I was doing and that I had a passion for gymnastics, the actual paid coaches took a step back and they started asking me, "Hey, what should we do next? Do you have a lesson plan? Do you have any ideas for the kids? Like, what should the boys be learning?" And even though I was a volunteer, and I would say that I was totally in charge of the boys group. And a
Mm,
lot of times there's a ceiling inadvertently placed on our spaces, and there was a ceiling. Those people who were at the county let me know that they weren't interested. I'm sorry, well, this was the city. They weren't interested in the boys doing gymnastics. There was a girls' gymnastics team there, and that was the city's main focus, and that's understandable. So I didn't want to be the person yelling discrimination. We're gonna pick it. This isn't fair. So I went to our county at large and I talked to them. And one of the rec centers through the county said, "Hey, there's a gymnastics program already in this city." And I said, "Yeah, we're there already. They won't let the boys compete." And this person told me they just didn't see the point of starting a second
mm,
very large competitive gymnastics program. And I understand, county employees, commissioners, whomever, they run these spaces and they have to make those decisions.
yeah,
And so I was talking with the parent who had been in my group, and I said, your son is very good. You should probably go up to Alpharetta. You should go up to Roswell. You should go up to Cartersville. They're kind of far away. They're like an hour and a half from where we are. But I say, they have established gyms. And she looked at me and she said, "Well, you can't train them." And I said, I don't have a gym. I'm just a volunteer coach here. And she was
Mm.
like, oh, you can't start a gym? And I was like, oh, like it's that easy. So it wasn't that
One thing a
easy.
black woman gonna do is challenge us to be great. She
Well,
was like,
no,
I
she
know you
did.
a lawyer and all, but you can't just start a gym.
That's basically what she said. So I talked with another parent. I was encouraging him to find a competitive gym for his son. And he was like, oh, so you can't coach him here? I said, again, this is a city program. I don't own this program and I
Right.
don't have my own gym. So he said, what do you need? I said, I would need mats. I would need equipment. He said, you just need a few mats. And even though they were simplifying it, I said, yeah, I just need a few mats. So I actually went on, I think it was Craigslist at the time,
Come on.
bought a few mats, and I was coaching gymnastics in the lobby of my law office. Is I
You
know
know
that
what?
sounds
I'm
crazy.
sorry. Just I need us to pause. No, Diddy.
Mhm.
I just need what you just said to land with the audience because we are often we live in a society that is so good at putting up the obstacles like, well, you can't do this because of that, you can't do that because of this, and here these people was from your community like, so you need some mess, you can't just start
Right.
it. Like you and like I feel like I'm being a little facetious, but the oversimplification of like that's all you need kind
Yes.
of reminds us that sometimes the big problems that we can't solve, really, when you break it down into small parts, are actually pretty solvable. So they tease you,
Right.
they came for you,
Well,
and you
so
started a gym.
So I think in their mind, they didn't understand the magnitude of
Sure.
what starting a gymnastics program, would be. And even though they oversimplified it, I followed their oversimplification and I said, okay,
Right.
I'll just get a few mats. And so when the lobby of the law office didn't work anymore, I moved to the playground and we almost had a heat stroke. And I said, okay, we really have to find an inside place. So I spoke with a lady whom I know. She was a teacher. And I was telling her about what I was doing, and I said, "Hey," and I used to be a teacher as well, so that's how I met her. And
Are
I
you
said, "Hey,
Jamaican by any chance? You got all the jobs.
no,
As a
I
daughter
know,
of a Jamaican woman, I just felt an instant kinship.
no."
I know that's a stereotype. Don't come for me,
And
Jamaican
so
woman.
I told her, hey, I have this issue with the county and the city. They won't approve another gymnastics program. And she said, oh, I know a woman who started her own type of recreation program. Maybe you should speak with her. So I went and spoke with this lady, and she was very welcoming and inviting. She welcomed our program into her building, and we were there for 16 months. And so that's when we actually had a facility for the kids to train. So she just provided the building. And just over that time, I got a lot of the equipment. A lot of it I bought out of pocket. We had a lot of donors who donated equipment. So we didn't have the regulation equipment, but the boys had practice equipment that they began to learn with. And that's how we got started.
So, after having become an educator, after becoming an attorney, you start a gym because the kids you was already servicing was like, hey man, we need a gym. And their
Right.
families was looking at you like, you got the gym connects. What you gonna do, son? What you gonna do?
Right.
I know that you don't intend for this to be an oversimplification of what the steps are to go from recognizing a problem in our community to producing a solution. But I'm so glad you told the story this way because sometimes we overly complicate these things in ways that can paralyze us from moving. And meanwhile, you done been cajoled into buying mats. You done got a gym in the law office. I don't know if you was doing that between depositions, but you not. And now you have this thriving community enterprise, this thriving community institution. Where are the boys? What are they doing now? What sorts of competitions are they doing? What goals have you set competitively? How can we follow you, support you? Give us the tea.
Okay, so we entered competition in the 2020-2021 season, and it was at the height of COVID.
Mm.
And so what I want to say is in that first competition season, I would call us the Bad News Bears of gymnastics. I don't know if you've ever seen that movie
Yes.
with that baseball team. So, we were learning and we didn't have all of the equipment that the other teams had. And you could clearly see that there was a disadvantage. And I say, you know what? We are going to enter again next season and we're going to be contenders. And we went back into the gym. It didn't have everything we needed again, but I said, okay, we are going to focus. And when we came back the next season, we won the opening invitational. And it
Oh,
was just one
snap.
of those moments where, all of the parents are looking down and the boys are running down to the top podium. And I almost teared up and I was like, us, Lord, us, because to
I've
go
seen what
from
you've done for others.
Yes, to go from a team that was in the bottom, I think at that time there were probably 20 teams in Georgia. We were in the bottom half to now be a top team in Georgia. it was just a culmination of all of the hard work that we have done. And just over that, well, just after that, over the seasons, we have won several invitationals. One of my biggest goals was to get our team into the Future Stars program, which is the precursor to the Olympic training program with USA Gymnastics. And the following year, one of our athletes made that program. We're also in the National Gymnastics Association. So for 2 seasons in a row, we've had several boys who've been on the national team, and four of my boys have been invited to the national training summer camp that's in Tennessee each year. And we have one girl who would not say, I kept telling her she couldn't join. She would not take no for an answer. She kept telling her parents to bring her, and she would come, and I would say, hey, this is a boys' gym, and she would just stay over in the corner. And one day, her mom was like, she just can't get out there with the boys. And I said, okay, and she ran out there, did some flips, and she stayed. And so she's a national champion on vault now. She competed 2 seasons with the boys, and then she competed in girls gymnastics for 2 seasons. She's ranked nationally, and she's ranked within our state and within our region. And
What?
so I just like that we never let anything deter us from being a small gym, from being a gym that did not have all of the equipment that we needed. We really moved forward knowing that we had to work hard, and the parents and the kids were willing to work hard, and it's just been a great story. So just where we are now, we just finished our season in June. We're on hiatus at the moment. We had an issue with the building that we were practicing in because it was small for the kids that we were working with. When I first got them 6 years ago, they were around second, third grade. The older kids now are in middle school, and two of them were in high school, and they had just outgrown the ceiling of the building. And our captain, he was kicking the ceiling grid when he was doing his bar routine.
Wow.
And one day we were in the practice, and he goes all the way up, and his feet just like, this is the ceiling,
Oh,
these are
snap.
his feet. And I say, we really have to stop. So since then, been looking for a bigger location, one that's more suitable for the upper level gymnastics that we do.
Mm.
And so we have an Instagram page. It's JJ Gym Academy. I have a Facebook page that's James Jones Gymnastics Academy. And I have a Twitter page that's James Jones ESQ. And on those pages, I detail everything that's going on with the kids and just, our search for a new gym. And so hopefully before the season gets back up again, we'll be in a new location, and the team will be back up and running and preparing for the season.
This is amazing. I'm so I don't know you, brother, but I'm so proud of you. Like I'm so I just this makes my little melanated heart just feel good and warm inside. We are sharing your links. We are going to, of course, everyone's getting they all are hearing you talk about this story in real time. I see you have a GoFundMe. You guys are working to raise $55,000. You're right now at $51,582. But I'm curious, is this a goal, this $55,000? What will it allow you to do? We only have a minute or so left, but is this a goal that is the bare minimum, or should we be trying to exceed this 55,000 goal?
So we should be trying to exceed. One of the issues with the county is we don't have a lot of suitable buildings for gymnastics. So we're in Clayton County, which is below Atlanta. We
Mm.
may have to move north into Fulton County, which is actually Atlanta, and the real estate commercial rentals are higher there.
Wow.
And so just the more we get, the better building we'd be able to find that would be suitable for the gymnast. And we need something long term. So we've moved 4 times in 6 years. I would
Wow.
love to find a building where we're able to stay there, we're able to be established, and we're able to establish a program that the community knows about and that is big enough that all levels of gymnasts are able to attend.
Ideally, you could own this building and
Yes,
have
and that's why if we could exceed this goal, I'm
it.
looking into possibly purchasing a building.
Okay, that's man, this is amazing. You all are doing some phenomenal work. My heart is happy as somebody who grew up watching. Who is it? Dominique Dawes and Nadia
That's her.
Comaneci. Yeah,
That's him.
Nadia Com. I remember being a little kid, and I tried a back handspring, but it didn't end well, and I landed on my neck, and then I've been devastated
Oh,
ever since.
wow.
Yeah, it was a problem. It was a problem. But it is so encouraging, not just because I love watching gymnastics, and I think watching these videos of these little boys and girls has just been and I know some of y'all out there is like, well, why we can't do nothing for the girls? Y'all, it's okay to hyper focus. You don't get mad at the breast cancer doctor for not focusing on
Yes.
your toes and the
And
health of your brain. Like, it's okay.
And what I want to say, there are at least 10 or 11 girls' gymnastics programs, probably within a 15-minute drive from us.
Mm.
No boys' gymnastics programs, but there, if girls wanted to do gymnastics, they could just pick a direction and drive, and their parents would find a location.
So you are helping to resolve a systemic disparity, an anti-black boy disparity. So we gonna hold space for you to do that.
Thank